Good morning, guys. Today, I would like to talk a little bit about experiencing life and understanding that unless you're experiencing it with your own two eyes, hearing things with your own ears, talking with your mouth, touching other people with your hands, and instead you're reading about it on your social media, it's not the same. Oh, I know. You think that, well, duh, of course. But for some reason, everybody seems to think that they have a total understanding of what's going on in the world just by reading American news. And I'm here to tell you, as many others have tried to tell you, that unless you're seeing it for yourself, unless you're physically in that location, you don't know what the hell's going on. Whether it's the Ukraine, China, Afghanistan, Detroit, Miami Beach, or Pago Pago. Unless you've been there, you're only reading one person's narrative. It might be a group of people that are shooting and perfecting a narrative, but it's a narrative. It's always a narrative. Unless you're tasting the food in that geographical area. This is a flatbread, kind of a Chinese pizza kind of thing. This is really good. This is it's bacon with olive leaves and mushrooms. It's actually very, very good. Unless you're walking down the street in that geographical area. This is what it's like 6:30 in Jida and Zhuhai. For those of you who don't know where I'm at or what I'm doing, just walking down the street. This is going to be a Holiday Inn, this building right here. And this is a barbecue place. Concentrates on Korean shao kao. This is what it's like. You can have a pier inside. Nice place to eat. They're still working on the Holiday Inn. You can see all that construction over there. Nice evening. Story. He's like, how can you believe such a narrative? Well, and I tried to explain to him, and I'm going to regurgitate that here. Most expats, most American expats, who have left the United States and have lived in another country for at least 10 years sees things a lot better than anybody inside the United States. The United States is a prison camp. Trees play an important role
It offers shade. United States, especially during the 70s and the 80s, everybody was cutting down trees. They argued that it would cost too much to maintain the trees, that if they fell and destroyed cars or other things, it would be undesirable. People hated to rake up leaves, so they said, let's just cut down the trees. China doesn't believe that. They believe that trees and nature has an important component to life.
Writing about it so that you like it, that it appeals to you. So they'll take something that you like, provide a narrative where 70% of it is something that you're very, very in favor of, something that really appeals to you, and then twist it with some lies and manipulations. And that's how they control you. And if you're in an echo chamber, and that's all you get, well, that's all you'll see. And that's not good, is it?
This is China. It's Zhuhai. It's the afternoon. It's kind of a warm and humid day. You can tell. See how white the sky is? That's humidity. It's refreshing in the trees, though. No, they're not. This is what small town China looks like. Small town China. Zhuhai is a small town, China terms.
In your life, what matters to you isn't what the guy's saying on the radio. It's how much gas you need to put in your car. It's how much traffic you need to fight to get to work. It's how your boss treats you at work. It's the size of your yearly bonus. It's how you get along with your coworkers. It's whether you feel fulfilled and are doing a productive employment that you are part of and that matters to you. It's about your relationships with your loved ones, your family.
Still others, they like to go
your
walking,
extended
hiking,
family,
cross-country skiing, sailing.
your friends.
And others prefer a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and a good book.
Cats.
It's about
I myself am a sit on the porch with the cat and a glass of wine kind of guy, but just because I like it doesn't mean that the whole world should have that.
可以吗？哦，你看，哇哦，你看，你可以画画哦，画画哦，哇哦，谢谢你，谢谢你。
Feels that way. They believe that they have an ideal for everybody to live, and I don't think that's a right thing. I think everybody in this world has a story to tell. If you're watching this, I'm sure you have a story to tell. Some of them are good and some of them are really awful. Some of you guys are dealing with issues with loved ones, maybe a little rocky. Stresses at work. Maybe you're starting a new business and it's taking off, or maybe it's not taking off. Maybe you've got a health issue. It can be tricky and can be very scary, especially when you get older. You don't want health issues, trust me. Everybody's got a life. Everybody's got issues. Everybody has a story. here, I have a big story, lots of stories. I write about them, talk about them. I'm in China. You want to know about China? I'll tell you about China. China's a big country. It's about the size of the United States, a little bit bigger. It's a lot older than the United States, by far. It's like a soup that was cooking for a long, long time. And America is a soup that was just put on the stove. So China's culture is very, very deep. Society is very, very thick. China is a nice place to live, and it appeals to me. I've lived in California, I've lived in Texas, I've lived in Florida, I've lived everywhere in the United States. I won't say everywhere, but a lot of places. Some of them are great. I loved Boston, for instance. I thought Boston was the shit. Auburn, California is another nice place. Kentucky, beautiful. Oh my God. Indiana, meh. But springs and fall were actually very spectacular. And I'm in China right now. And this morning, aside from the email, or not the email, the comment, how could I believe this other expat who says, you know, what he said, guys, the world does not revolve around the United States. If you're in the United States, I'm sure you believe that it does. It doesn't. There's influencers on who live in France, and they could tell you the same thing. The world does not revolve around the United States. If the United States were to collapse, everything, trade, everything would die. The rest of the world would continue with hardly a road bump. It would affect me because I have some trade, but for the most of the world, it'll hardly be a road bump. It would just be a blip on the radar screen. Because most of what the United States does not affect the little guy. It does not affect the United States citizenry. You guys know that. I shouldn't have to tell you that, should I? You know that. Look at what the rules they're doing. Are you going to tell me that billions and billions of dollars for arming Australia is really going to affect your life in Paducah, Illinois? Are you serious? And when that stops, the United States collapses, everything shuts down, and the arms going to Australia, Is that going to affect you? No. It's going to affect the military in Australia. It's going to affect the oligarchs who are in control of Australia, but it won't affect you. 99% of the people are not going to be affected. Life, good or bad, is what you experience viscerally. So the news is all full about China and global dollars and petrol dollars and Ukraine war and yada, yada, yada. Russia is losing the Ukraine war. Huh, God damn. I won't even get started on that. One big media push is replaced with another big media push, and then another one. Right now it's Russia and the Ukraine. Before this, it was mandatory vaccinations. Before that was COVID. Before that, it was China trade war. Before that was Ebola. Before that was SARS. Right down the list. Manipulate, manipulate, manipulate. It's not good, huh? You don't like that, do you? When was the last time you guys went and took a bike ride? Own a bike, rode a bike, rented a bike. It's good for you and it's fun. I think it de-stresses a lot. And rolling back to, you have to see things as they actually are. I'm not being facetious. This news about China this and this news about China that. Guys, unless you've been in China, it's just a narrative by somebody, and most of them have never set foot out of the United States. Or in the case of the BBC out of Britain. They don't know. All they know is they've got a agenda. And how do I know this? I've watched the interviews of the people who actually writes these articles. Their impressions when they first came to China, the nation that they spent 15 years writing about. They finally visited it and they're saying, this is not what I've been writing about. Right now, the United States is in peak hysteria mode. It's literally hysterical. And it's doing a lot of stupid things. It's following a game plan that was laid out, established by Rand, with sub-game plans also established by Rand, and they're going down the check boxes. All of this is published. And all of it, the entire game plan, is known by both Russia and China. They know every move. And the American leadership who is going down the list and checking off those boxes are doing exactly the game plan and following exactly the game plan that China and Russia expects them to. In that situation of geopolitics, there can only be one outcome. If you're playing cards and the other people at the poker table know what kind of hand do you have, you're going to lose. No matter what hand you're carrying, you will lose because they know what cards you have. And that's the game plan. That's what's going on right now. Russia and China both know which cards the United States has on all levels. And they know how it's being played, and they understand this. It's very, very simple. Which is why in this waltz of geopolitics, that the United States just constantly seems like it's just stepping on other people's feet, crashing into walls, and getting the vapors. You have to see the world as it actually is. You have to adjust to it as it actually is. On a personal level, yeah. On a family level, of course. To be honest with you, I wish I could see some of what your lives look like. I've seen glimpses of some of my followers in Northern Europe, France, in the States, a handful over in Africa. Life is completely different than mine, but we all share similarities. If I had the money, guys, I would come out and visit you, or I would host you guys over here to visit me. I'm sure we could have a merry old time, eating, drinking, checking things out, just having a good time. There's a lot out there for us to do. There's a lot of things for us to do. And in the midst of talking about basic fundamentals of life, keep in mind too, and also, that we're in a historic time. Very historic. And it could go very bad. A lot of people are predicting it's going to go really bad. I'm going to remain a little guarded on that. I'm going to say it's going to be a little testy for a while, but not necessarily bad. I'm going to see an implosion on the United States a little bit. But guys, if you're ready and doing fundamental traditional lifestyle, you're going to be fine. Be part of your community. Help others. Do good things. Have some fun and enjoy yourself. You'll be all right. When you read stuff, remember it's a narrative, whether it's from me, or from Bloomberg, or from Fox News, or from Politico. They're all narratives. Some of the narratives are just outstandingly wrong. I saw a YouTube channel yesterday with all kinds of stuff. How Russia is going to be destroyed. Why China cannot last more than 20 years. It's just ream after ream after ream of these discussions on how it's ultimately the Asia is going to fall and be kaput. It's like, hey, Merry Christmas. And you see all these comments there, hundreds of comments of, yeah, of course Asia's gonna of course China's gonna die, because after all, China's so evil. Guys. The worst propaganda is the propaganda you want to believe. All right, guys. A little bit before I move on, I just want to tell you, I'm experimenting on these video movie thingies that I'm posting up on YouTube, making all kinds of mistakes, but I'm learning. It's a learning curve. I'm going to delete some of the ones already up, especially the ones that are a little too spicy. Too much passion. I really hate that. Trying to work on the transitions a little bit better. Hopefully this is going to be improvements. Gonna spice it up, make it look a little bit better. But guys, I got a life. I mean, can only do so many times. Cranking out articles, running on the videos, running a factory, running a business, taking care of a 2-year-old, which, by the way, she's adorable. She is just my little jewel. But she is a handful. And I got an old dog. So, bear with me as I blunder through these video escapades until I get some things towards perfection. All right? If you're new to stumbling onto these videos, well, that's great. Welcome. I'm not an expert at this, but over time I probably will be. And keep in mind, I just want you to just do the best you can in your life. There will be hardships and difficulties, but as somebody who's gone through them, I can tell you that they too will end. I want to concentrate more in my video selection concerning people and interpersonal relationships, life, family. I'm also going to be talking a little bit more about majestic stuff, domain stuff, the commander and Q&A and that kind of thing. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that I can put on the table regarding that you might find interesting. If you don't, that's okay. I mean, it's a niche topic. I talk about China because I'm in China. And I talk about the geopolitical events because I'm ground zero in the middle of all this stuff going on. Nancy Pelosi's coming on over to Taiwan tomorrow. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's going to cause some problems. China's going to handle it and nobody's going to notice what's going on. But it's going to be another ratchet up on a belt that's eventually going to debuckle. What I do want you guys to do, I really want you guys to have a great life. I want you to go out, eat some good, delicious food, breathe some fresh air. Come on, it's April, all right? April should be the time of flowers, blue skies, fresh air. If you're not flying a kite or riding a horse, riding a bike, eating some delicious strawberry shortcake and a cup of coffee, then maybe you should give it a thought and say, yeah, I'll spend a little bit of money and do something like that. In all cases, tone down the news because a lot of it, I would say 90% of the news in the West is just lie now. They're just fabricating bullshit. They're just fabricating narratives. It's all fabricated narratives. So, and you've got my narrative to give you a different perspective. And in the meantime, have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Go out and play. Adults deserve to play. And you're an adult. Go have a great day. With that, I'm going to call it quits. Bye.